What's Nintendo hiding? They've been acting different lately, and they're being more secretive than they usually are. This is probably because the Switch 2 became the most leaked console in history, and there wasn't much of a surprise they could add to the Switch 2 trailer that we haven't already seen yet. But Nintendo still has the upper hand, because there's a big Switch 2 feature we still don't know about. Everything Nintendo does is intentional. They want the Switch 2 hype to keep growing, and they want to keep as closed of a lid as they can on the other Switch 2 features they know about that haven't been leaked yet. They want April's Switch 2 Direct presentation to be a huge success. We still haven't gotten the rumored Switch 1 February Direct, which they have almost always had every other year. I still believe we'll get one before the month ends since there are Switch 1 games they need to announce. But Nintendo could also just quietly shadow drop those games as each one comes. One secret Nintendo tried to cover up on the Switch 2 trailer that they hoped we wouldn't notice was this mysterious blink button. All the rumors and leaks we've heard say there should be a C on it, and there's no reason to have a blink button here. So why did Nintendo Photoshop it out? It's because they want to keep it a secret. What other secrets are they hiding? Well, Nintendo is sneaky, and a former Nintendo veteran is speaking out about it. In an interview with Games Radar, Takaya Imamura said, "The original Switch is a success no matter how you view it. Mind you, that's not to say Nintendo isn't likely to switch things up for the console's successor." According to Wikipedia, Takaya Imamura is a Japanese video game designer, manga artist, and educator. From 1989 to 2021, Imamura worked at Nintendo, where he designed the characters and story of F-Zero, including Captain Falcon and most of the supporting characters from the Star Fox series of video games. He also played a role in designing games in the Legend of Zelda series, such as The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, invented the character Tingle, and served as supervising producer for F-Zero GX. So, from working with Nintendo for over 30 years, Imamura definitely knows what he's talking about. And heading back to the Games Radar interview, Imamura says, "The Switch has had a really long lifespan, and it sold really well, which must mean that this is something that is a global success," he says. "It's got supporters all around the world, and I was thinking it would be difficult to really change that. But having said that, I think they've still got something up their sleeves." Well, what is it? Imamura continues on by saying, "So compared to EU and the US, the budget for a so-called AAA game over here in comparison," he's talking about Japan, "is a lot smaller," he says. The same for films as well. But I don't think that necessarily having a big, huge budget means that you can make a great game. I really do think that games, the best games, are down to the best ideas. And I think Japanese game creators are able to work within those restraints as they were, but they can come to play, so to speak, with ideas that can trump the bigger budgets. If you think about it, that's the Nintendo formula, ideas that can trump bigger budgets. Before we get to the big ideas Nintendo could have up their sleeve, I want to let you know that I'm on the road to hitting 1,000 subscribers, which I hope to hit before Nintendo Switch 2 Direct in April, and I really appreciate your support very much. If you haven't subscribed yet and you want to keep getting more amazing Nintendo news, make sure you subscribe so you won't miss out on anything. So, what big ideas would Nintendo have up their sleeve for the Switch 2? The first one we suspected, but didn't know for sure till now. There have been rumors, and we've seen how Nintendo teased this in their trailer by the joycons moving and looking like mice. But Nintendo actually released this patent that proves this is a functionality that the joycons do have. Game Rant talks about this by saying, according to a Nintendo patent filed back in August 2023 and published on February 6, 2025, the Switch 2 Joy-Cons will have a brand new hardware feature that allows them to be used similarly to a computer mouse. The patent showcases the internal structure of these innovative controllers, which utilize a light source and sensors similar to optical computer mice to allow users to slide the joycons across a flat surface and produce on-screen movement. This gives players the ability to hold the joycons with the sensor side down and slide the controller around like a mouse while simultaneously using the familiar face and shoulder buttons as well as the joystick. Being able to choose between a standard hold and mouse hold means players have more control over how they utilize the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware when gaming, offering a greater depth of functionality compared to the existing Switch Joy-Con model. Think about how much easier it will be to use a Joy-Con as a mouse with strategy games like Civilization 7, or another way to focus the camera or gun targeting in action-adventure games like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. The experience can be so much more enjoyable with this type of extra controller capability. The next feature is one that we never even suspected, and Nintendo just released a patent on it too. What this feature gives is the ability to put Joy-Cons on any side of the console, and the console screen will rotate 180 degrees to your desired orientation. Many phones and tablets are already doing this, so why not add this functionality to our favorite handheld console too? Chris Scullion at VGC talks about this by saying, "Now, a new patent published by Nintendo suggests players may be able to turn the controllers upside down and plug them into the wrong side of the system. Instead of reporting an error, the patent suggests the Switch 2 could instead flip the display 180 degrees, essentially allowing the user to turn the system upside down. This is how it will look if the console is upright and the Joy-Cons are put on the wrong sides. But to show you a better example, you can flip the console around like this. If a game was running while you did this, the video would also rotate so you can use the console the same as before, even when it's upside down." VGC expounds on this further by saying, "The user can use the game system by mounting the right controller and the left controller on the opposite side to the main body device," the patent reads. According to this, the user can use the game system in such a manner that the component becomes a favorable arrangement. For example, the user can use the game system so that the upper and lower sides of the main body device are opposite to each other, such that the voice input-output connector on the upper surface of the main body device is located below the main body device. That is, the user can insert the earphone into the voice input-output connector from the preferred direction. It should also be noted that while the USB port on the bottom of the Switch 2 is in the center of the system, the one at the top is off to the side. In theory then, Nintendo or third-party manufacturers could create USB peripherals for Switch 2, such as a camera, which could sit on the middle of the console if the user plays with the system rotated and the middle USB port on the top. Sure, it is helpful if you want to plug in your headphones at the bottom instead of the top of the console, and it will be helpful for when you pick up the console upside down and don't notice, but it's even more important than that. The most important use of this feature I see here is when you want an accessory at the top of the console that needs to plug into the center USB port. The position of the USB ports, with the top one to the right and the bottom one in the center, is mostly so that the system can only be placed in dock mode in the correct orientation so that the heating ventilation fits where it needs to be, so there's plenty of ventilation to keep the system running optimally without overheating. Now, there will probably be accessories that need to be plugged into this slot and positioned in the center at the top when you're playing in handheld mode. One of these could be a potential second screen add-on accessory that can be attached to the console to add functionality like as is found in the Nintendo DS family of systems, where the second screen can show other game data. Nintendo actually published a patent in 2023 that did show a second screen for an upcoming console. Many people dismissed it for the Switch 2 when none of the leaks confirmed that the Switch 2 had a second screen. Using the center USB port at the top like this would make it work. This would also make it very easy to add Nintendo DS, 2DS, and 3DS games to NSO when Nintendo's ready to do so. It can emulate the additional interface that Wii U games have had, and it can even be another way to play Switch 2 games that can benefit from an extra screen like this. I'm extremely excited for this flipped console orientation feature, since it would open up even more possibilities with accessories that could use a center USB port at the top like a potential second screen. But what about that extra button the right Joy-Con has that Nintendo slyly covered up in their video to draw attention away from it? Unlike Nintendo's video that has a blank button, all the other leaked images of the console do show that it has a C on it. Some people took this to say, oh, the leaks were wrong, but since there's no point in having a blank button, and since everything else from the links that we could see were completely right, I do believe the leaks of this button were right too, and Nintendo intentionally covered up this little detail from us. So why did they do that? It's because they're trying to keep this little secret right up their sleeve and not reveal it till the Switch 2 Direct in April. Nintendo still wants to hold as many of the cards as they can, since they've almost lost the whole deck with all the leaks that have come out. And with Nintendo trying to hide this button, I think the implications of it are bigger than we think. So what does the C button do? The C could stand for many things: chat, connection, cast, cursor, or maybe something else. I don't think it's cursor, since I don't think you'll need to push a button to use the Joy-Cons as mice. And I guess it could be cast to cast what you have on the handheld screen to the TV, but I think it's bigger than that. Nintendo's needed better multiplayer support for a long time, and a feature to make it easier to connect with friends while you're playing a game would probably be the most useful feature that could be added to the Switch 2. Game Rant had this to say about it. One theory about the rumored C button has now emerged as a result of some data mining efforts centered on the latest version of the Switch OS. According to a report originating from a fast-growing Discord server dedicated to the Switch 2, Nintendo's newest firmware contains references to a feature codenamed Campus. This is supposedly related to some kind of group and voice chat support for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. The same source suggests that Campus would allow screen sharing, whereas its chat groups will be able to accommodate up to 12 users. While its codename starts with a C, if this rumored feature has anything to do with the new button said to be present on Nintendo's next console, then the letter on that key is much more likely to stand for chat rather than Campus. These findings represent a blow to the popular fan theory that the C button might be used for casting the contents of the Nintendo Switch 2 screen to another device. I think a chat interface like as described here, with screen sharing and support up to 12 NSO subscribers, would be the best use of the C button. It sounds great, but it still hasn't been confirmed by Nintendo yet. I guess we'll just have to wait till April 2nd to find out. I'd like to hear from you. What Switch 2 secrets do you think Nintendo's still hiding from us? And what do you think the mysterious C button could be used for? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching and subscribing. If you'd like to see more amazing Switch 2 news, you'll want to watch this video here.